there, welcome to another recap of our MGC postcards for this week. So last week's postcards, not much came through, but we did have one response, which was great, which was to this postcard of this chap here, Sergeant Dickinson, BEF France. Couldn't really find much in terms of information on the Machine Gun Corps database, but thankfully Johnny Doyle, who's one of our patrons, so please do sign up at www.patreon.com/VickersMG and join people like Johnny in helping us, funding us, and also doing some research with us. So Johnny found that the Dickinson family at Carlton Cottage, Carlton, Blackpool, in 1918 to 1921, so this period when we know this photograph was taken, included John, born 1896, Robert, born 1899, William, born 1886, and Dick, born 1894, and Robert was a member of the Machine Gun Corps, so regimental number 8544, previously of the East Lancashire Regiment 22930. Can't confirm it's the same man, but quite probable at this point, and certainly gives us another avenue to work down and help locate this chap. So that's great. Thanks, Johnny. In the others, this great photo again, but I don't think anything more came up on the postcards from that week. So let's take a look at next week. So here's a nice group photo with the Vickers front and centre. So what have we got? Just background. We've got a hut up in the back here, some tents, bell tents. So obviously on a camp somewhere. At the moment, can't work out whether that's the UK or France. Not really sure. Something tells me France, but again, not really sure. So MGC cap badges on all the men, I think. Have they got a rocker underneath? Is it MGC? Could be. Not sure. So when I say a rocker, I mean you've got the cross guns and then something underneath, and normally we see MMG, but it could be RND for the Royal Naval Division sometimes. Rare in many cases. This one doesn't look like it's got a rocker, but some of these others do look like that gap between the cross pieces of the two guns is filled. Let's take a look. Yeah, it could well be. We do degrade the resolution a little bit on these when we're sharing them, because otherwise they'd be really big image files, but not massively. So we should normally be able to see that sort of stuff. It might just be that they're close together. Anyway, so let's have a quick look at the gun. So we've got a 5-arch top cover there with a Mark 1 tangent sight slide and a Mark 1 muzzle cone. We've got lightning. You can really see the ribs of the lightning on this gun. So this is a very early Vickers, sort of 1915. We've got no direction dial fitted and no elevating wheel. So again, sort of quite early there. And you can see how these early tripods don't have any engraving in the side either. So later tripods do, sort of 1920s onwards, maybe 1930s onwards even. But the gun's quite basic, set up without any accessories. All the men that are sat there are quite smart. They're just in belt order, 03 pattern belts actually, which may help identify the unit as being a motor machine gun corps unit rather than the 08 pattern or 1914 pattern equipment. They seem to all be in those, but we do have this mix of cap badges that tells me, I'm not really sure yet. They're also all in putties, and we have seen motor machine gun units in a mix of, mainly in leather boots actually, rather than putties. So yeah, it could be that this is a motor machine gun unit in putties, but not really sure. Something that's just jumped out at me on this chap here, he's got a whistle hanging off of his button, so he's obviously an NCO. I think he's a sergeant. Yeah, we've got the sergeant sat alongside the officers, but he's got a whistle hanging from his pocket, which is quite nice. And we've got the officers sat in the middle, 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. Nice crusher cap, soft sort of khaki drill kind of crusher cap there, rather than the service dress cap being the more stiff service dress cap. They're in their Sam Browns, a few with sort of canes, another couple of whistles on there, as well as a great moustache on this chap. Then we've got Anything else? Any sort of redeeming features? They're quite smart, aren't they? You know, British Army uniform, having gone to khaki, was still very smart uniform, and maintained that for some years. No medal ribbons or anything, so it could be quite early on. This chap looks really young here, look, with a very stiff crown on the on his service dress cap. A few moustaches, a few young chaps at the back. The privates certainly seem to be very young. Or if this is motor machine gun service, they might well be gunners rather than privates. And this chap here is wearing one of those 1888 pattern Slade Wallace belts. I think it's 1888 pattern. Somebody will have to correct me on that. I can't remember. There with the distinctive buckle on it. So possibly motor machine gun service in this one. Let's see if the back gives us any clues. Sadly, nothing on the back to give us a clue, other than the fact it was taken in Eastbourne. Not much of a clue. Sussex. So who was in Sussex? You've got Crowborough, which was the Canadian machine gun school. Not this early though. Cavalry machine guns. Oh, sorry, Canadians at Seaford. Cavalry at Crowborough. Not MGCC. Maybe the 03 pattern belts may mean that it's machine gun corps cavalry actually. But all of their puttees were tied at the top, and they weren't really wearing breeches, but it could be speculation on my part really. But yeah, a UK based photographer anyway. That's all I can tell you. Now this is a slightly different photo. It does show members of the machine gun corps. These chaps in uniform with their service dress caps are all MGC. But what we also have in the photo are a series of patients. So they are in their hospital blues. So an overall kind of uniform for patients in hospital, and we've got 7 of those plus 8. Is this chap? Yeah, so that chap's in his blues as well. He's just got his tunic done up a little bit further, plus 2 women, and so it's obviously a bit sort of candid, perhaps a few gentlemen visiting, the guys in uniform visiting comrades in hospital, and the 2 women either visiting or perhaps nurses at all, or attendants. So yeah, interesting to see. The uniforms don't really tell us too much. They're wearing 03 pattern belts, and actually they're wearing 03 pattern belts and leggings, gaiters. So it could be that they're motor machine gun corps mounted men. Can't see it, so I can see he's wearing them as well. So yeah, that would normally mean, rather than puttees, that they're machine gun mounted. Looks like they have slip-ons rather than brass shoulder titles, but that none of them have got an MMG cap badge. They do look like they could have the earlier type of cap badge that's associated with the motor machine gun service a little bit more, or the very early type of machine gun corps cap badge that has the foresight of the gun over the feed block, rather than, so you've got that feed block there rather than the tangent sight slide here. So it's just a shape thing, but it looks like it could be that earlier type of cap badge, which would link it a bit more to motor machine gun service. There's nothing really to tell us anything else whatsoever. They don't wear any uniform, any insignia on the hospital dress, but you can see that it still involves collar and tie there. And yeah, so that not a huge amount in that photo, but an interesting one to see this mix of men in uniform, men in hospital dress, and the women themselves. On the back, not huge amounts of information, but it does sort of say something. Is that hotel in Suffolk or postcard, or not really sure what that. There's something Martin Suffolk. If anybody can work out what that is, that might help. It could be hospital. Not really sure. And then we've got Suffolk written in pencil in the top left. Oh, wait a minute. Burrell. I think that's a photographer's marks there. Suffolk. So a UK-based hospital by the looks of it, which is, yes, quite interesting to see that mix there. No, at first glance, this isn't a soldier in the machine gun corps because the cap badge is, I think, Sherwood Foresters, not Ensuring Derbyshire Regiment. A quick apology for some of these. The watermark has come through quite heavily. We automate the watermarks because we're doing hundreds at a time, and on some of them, some of the darker postcards, this white on black watermark comes through a little bit heavier, but I think all the detail can still be seen in this one. If you do see one, do flag it up, but it's a reminder that obviously these are being shared for the anniversary of the Machine Gun Corps disbandment, and we don't necessarily watermark these for copyright purposes, although we have scanned them in. We are watermarking them so people do share them and know the source of where this stuff's coming from and know the anniversary itself. Anyway, so Knots and Derbies up there. Looks like he's wearing the larger shoulder title for them as well. He's a very young guy. A 1914 pattern belt, quite high up on his waist. Looks quite large, so I'd say he's quite a short individual as well. Perhaps going with its age. Puttees, boots, nicely polished boots, nice studio shot, and a cane swagger stick in there, leaning on those random studio accessories really with the backdrop. So yeah, not apparently a Machine Gun Corps soldier at first glance, but in this folder of Machine Gun Corps postcards. And this is why he's there. So 81630 of the Nottinghamshire and Derbyshire Regiment, the Sherwood Foresters, D.H. Ingram, and 157390 in the Machine Gun Corps, and it's been written Grandad above it as well. So David Harold Ingram, this is from Graham Sacker's database, born the 1st of April 1898 at Ripley, resided at Wakefield, and a coal miner. He was transferred from the Notts and Derbyshire Regiment to the Machine Gun Corps on the 20th of May 1918. So this photo is before that. It's when he's in the Notts and Derbies, and he served in the 200th Battalion before being discharged on the 20th of December 1918. So it wasn't in for very long, 7 months exactly, but obviously a Machine Gun Corps soldier, and a reminder that they all come from, or many of them came from infantry or cavalry regiments before their Machine Gun Corps service. So even if that was in the UK, very few went direct to the Machine Gun Corps, so they would have had some other regimental service as well. So you've got these hidden Machine Gun Corps soldiers that perhaps never had their photo taken in Machine Gun Corps service, such as this chap, but has his postcard taken in another service as well. Now this is quite a dark postcard and is one of those where the watermark did come through too heavy, so we have reduced that and for the video, and it's been reduced on our Twitter feed, I think, or we've certainly added the additional photo with the reduction, so hopefully you can tell a little bit more about it. We've got this nice group photo of a whole section, so we've got the 4 guns sat in the front there, and actually the sections transport in the back as well. So we've got, or that might be more than just the sections. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there must be 10. There's 5 limbered wagons at the back there. So I think that's the whole company's wagons, because we've got 2 guns per wagon. But anyway, we've got these sat here, and it seems to be we've got the whole section's worth of men as well, with the officers sat in the middle. We've got the 4 Vickers machine guns. Not really much to tell you about those that we haven't mentioned many times already. Fluted casings, Mark 1 muzzle cones. They look like they've got number 3 belt boxes on these, and then maybe a number 6 or number 6 belt box there. So that's the metal belt box with the side opening lid, and possibly the same on that one as well. So that is a little bit different. We've got single arch top covers on them, certainly, and maybe a 5 arch on this one. No, single arch, there it is. Single arch top covers. The ammunition belts look full, which helps us tell that it might well be in France. And then the men don't have any belt order or anything on, just in their in their uniforms. We see quite a few, or 2, 3 machine gun skillet arms badges. There's another one there, which we don't actually see that often. So this unit's obviously wearing them, which is great. It does look like we've got a patch on here. Can't tell what that patch is just a square dark patch to signify the company, or probably the company rather than a battalion. And then we've got the MGC shoulder title above those. Some of these chaps look a fair bit older. Certainly this guy looks a bit older than the rest of them. The buttons are showing up quite well on this postcard. Somebody with a cigarette on. Always great in a photo to see the informality of it. Especially he's not exactly far away from the officers, so there's a fair amount of informality in the photo. No, the officers are rather than carrying just a cane, it looks like these. Is this the sergeants here? It could be sergeants. Are carrying massive sticks. So yeah, not really sure what that's all about, but they're certainly much more than just a normal little swagger stick. And the chap sat in the middle looks to be, he might have some rank on here, so that might be a company quartermaster sergeant or a company sergeant major, sorry. It looks to be like, yeah, he's sat in the middle with that biggest stick. It also looks like they're sat on upended ammunition boxes as well, which is quite nice. What else is there? Nothing really to shout out. This chap here's got something on his arm, some insignia. Could be a signal, a flash. Could be a blur on the postcard. We've got a lance corporal sat next to him. But it's certainly, yeah, something there. Could be the farrier, artificer, trade appointment rather than anything else. No, can't. And you can see the covers on the limbered wagons in the background now, which is great to see. Yeah, nothing else there. Quite a nice sort of informal photo of your unit in the field in France by the looks of it. And yeah, a French postcard, but nothing to give us any more information about that at all. So it's that certain foreign countries won't accept the correspondence of the next of something renseigné, can't think that at the post, so maybe they can't send this to some post offices. Is that what that says? I'm not 100% sure. Somebody can correct me on that. So this is a mixed group here, not just in height actually, but a mixed group of men, quite smartly turned out, probably in the UK. There's all the huts behind them, training establishment. Puttees, trousers. This guy here's got trousers sort of bloused up a little bit. Maybe even breeches being worn there. That could be no, that's the watermark. Dope. So yeah, service dress, no belt, cigarettes on the go, but 4 different cap badges. So we've got a machine gun corps cap badge on the right net there, which you can just see has got the chin strap of the hat sort of both sides of that. Sometimes to keep that cap badge from falling out, because this little strap goes in above the tang of the cap badge, above the slider, so that it holds that in a little bit better. Then this one looks like a Royal Fusiliers cap badge. Then Royal Engineers, I'm going to say, on that one there. And then I think that's Royal Irish Fusiliers there. So a real mix actually. Maybe these 3 haven't been issued machine gun corps cap badges yet. Maybe they're new arrivals at the machine gun training centre. And this chap has. Not really sure what the story is behind it. Not much to give us away, but they've all got cigarettes on the go, apart from that chap second from the right. Yeah, hands in pockets. Nice casual photo. You can see the duck boards actually behind there. Creating the pathways around the camp. Rather than do 2 things, not just to keep and that looks like they're on a concrete pathway as well, so it doesn't just keep the paths tidy, but it keeps the guys walking in just the one place rather than across everything, so it creates paths around the camp. Now we've got some names: Private Fred Taylor and Private J Butler mentioned, Utine Depot, Lutin Depot, Court Farm, December 1916. So that might well be in France then. The huts perhaps a little bit further behind the line, although the postcard is a British postcard. Maybe that's a location in the UK. I can't think of. But it does sadly lead us nowhere with the names, because those names are quite common. We can't narrow those down on the database as to either of the certainly the Machine Gun Corps guys, there's 60 Fred Taylors to choose from and 34 J Butlers. So yeah, sadly common names that don't help us any further. Another whole section. I have a feeling we might have seen this postcard before, but I'm going to run through it anyway, rather than check, because it was shared this week. What have we got? So four Vickers, but also the rangefinder in there as well. So the rangefinder, presumably with the range taker sat behind it, looks to be a bit of an older guy. He's got his pistol in case there as well. So it's a number 2 Mark III rangefinder. All the guns are fitted with the auxiliary tripods, the Sangster mounts that we're familiar with. So this is probably in France again. They are all wearing 1914 pattern equipment, some of them wearing the pistol in case, some of them the rifle ammunition pouches, which were useful. They held 25 rounds of Vickers ammunition in a short belt if you needed to. We've got a signaller or somebody over here. We then have anything else on the equipment? No, big moustache in the middle. Can't see any 08 pattern equipment. Obviously we've got the Sam Browns of the officers. It looks to be a captain on the in the middle, so possibly a company officer, and then the 2 section subaltern section officers either side of them there. So yeah, although absolutely brilliant photo, can't determine much more detail about it. The only clue on the reverse is that it's in English, so it might be more UK based than France, but it's so vague, there's no photographer details that it could be just an English card that ended up in France. So a nice studio shot, sat on a bench, bit of flower pot behind. This might actually, is it? Oh, I don't know if it's a real 3D studio. There's a bit of something up in here as well, so maybe it is actually a real place, rather than just tapestry painted, painted backdrop. So what have we got? 2 Machine Gun Corps chaps. Now what I noticed when I was here is that they've both got spurs and they've both got putties tied around the bottom, so they're mounted guys. We've then got this, they're both wearing breeches as well. We can see the line of the reinforcing in there. Now what I can tell you, this just as a point of interest, this guy's cuffs are turned up, which is quite not something I don't think I've seen before. We've both got Machine Gun Corps cap badges, and then this chap here has 3 overseas service stripes, so he's obviously been overseas a little bit. What's interesting about they're both wearing lanyards as well. What's interesting about him is he looks like he could be wearing some sort of rain cover for his cap. So yeah, I think those are a thing. Somebody may be able to tell me otherwise, but it does seem to be that. It looks also like he's wearing one glove on that hand. Now I don't know why he'd be doing that, unless perhaps he's got an injury. But it certainly seems like he's wearing one glove and almost hiding it. So maybe he's got an injury, but there's no wound stripe. Maybe that hand is just cold. He's got shoulder titles on, whereas the chap on the left hasn't, so you can just see them there but not there. And then we've got these 2 civilians, or 2 people in here that look like young lads actually, in very smart attire, watch, chain, nice patterned tie. Yeah, so not really sure, family I suppose, perhaps seeing their older brothers, or while they're back in the UK on leave possibly. It is interesting that this is a French postcard, not something I'd have recognised. The scene seems to be in the UK, but it does seem to be French. So maybe those 2 civilians are French, but they don't seem to be. It looks more like brothers and older brothers. So, yeah, perhaps just printed in France or printed in preparation to go to France. And here's a reminder of our logo to commemorate this anniversary year, the centenary of the disbandment of the Machine Gun Corps, but also the centenary when machine gunnery really comes into its own, 1922, when it's handed back to the infantry battalions and the machine gun and the cavalry regiments, and serves us now in a way that we would recognise 100 years ago as being machine gunnery. So, hopefully you're still enjoying these photos. Please do support us on Patreon where you can at www.patreon.com patreon.com/vicarsmg to help us fund our time and effort that we put into this material, and get some access to additional information and stuff as well through that. But yeah, thanks for watching these so far, and hopefully you enjoy the photos that come in the week ahead for our patrons, or in the week just gone, and learn a little bit more about them.
Thank you for watching. Please remember to like and share the video and subscribe to the channel. Please support us on Patreon if you're able to, and let us know of anything you'd like to see in the future. I look forward to hearing from you.